there are just, there's a list of neuromyths, as they're called, that are always really, I find, useful to kind of print out and just keep in your classroom. I don't think teachers need to be brain scientists, and I don't think they need to know different areas of the brain. But I think, knowing that there is no such thing as left brain, right brain is significant. Again, not because you need to know how the brain functions, but to know that it's not static and that there's not one area of the brain that always does one thing. The reason that's important is because it means the potential for any child and any teacher, the potential for a learner is endless. Short of a brain abnormality, it's endless. And when you put two brains together, the possibilities grow even further. And so there's something really beautiful about understanding that about the brain. And then I would say to truly understand that the brain is dynamic. And so it's not only endless potential and growth, and there is no such thing as kind of stunted growth or plateauing, but that it's dynamic and forever engaging with its environment. If you were to imagine that that is both true for the student and for the teacher, because we both have brains, that when we then interact with one another, we cannot predict effectively what is going to happen. So to constantly understand that there's this dynamic interaction that happens between the two really just opens up a world of possibilities. I also think what is absolutely critical to understand, because we understand the brain is dynamic, it's forever changing, it's extremely complex, is really connected to going back to teachers as learners, because there is a lot of research that has been put out there to suggest that after a third year, teachers plateau and they don't learn anything. And as a researcher, I can go into a ton of depth about why the design of the studies and the measure of those studies would suggest that in the results at the end. But what I know quite easily, just from an understanding of the brain, is that's not possible, right? It's not possible for a human learning a new skill to plateau after 3 years, right? We're learners. We never stop learning. Whether anyone's measuring that effectively for teachers, because the work we do is so complex, that's another story. And I do believe that we don't have good ways of measuring with certainty, or even in an exploratory way, what's happening in the brain and the mind when two people are interacting with one another. So I'm not necessarily surprised that we might be showing teachers plateau after 3 years. But as a teacher in a classroom, I also know that's not true.